Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Trash Talking and Giving Back podcast. I am Erin-Coiffel-Barker, joined by my co-host, Joe Sinagra, the operations manager over at Myers Containers, Myers Waste and Recycle. I'm never sure which one I'm supposed to use to be appropriate. So let's just start there. Before we get to our guest today, who is Marlon Fisher from the Dad Guild. Joe, what is the appropriate name to use?
We go by Myers Waste and Recycling usually, but when we started out, we were just Myers Container, and then over the years, it kind of morphed as we got into more of the recycling things and doing other stuff. So we go by both.
Changing the brand to stick with the times.
Exactly.
I like it. How was your week?
Week was good. I do have a question. I come to you for live advice, and you're probably the most ethical person I associate with. Don't get too excited. You people I associate with aren't exactly the most ethical in the world. But so the question I have is, so you're out at a big box store or one of these places, and you see something on the ground, a wad of money or something of real value. What's the value? What's the amount of the money that you would have to pick up for you to keep or turn in?
Like it's just cash on the ground.
Like cash on the ground. Like, for me, you find $5 or $10, $20 on the ground. Oh, nice little windfall and everything. Is it 50? Is it 100? It's just cash. So do you pick the $100 bill?
And I'm assuming we didn't see who dropped it, because then we would get it and just give it to them. It's just like randomly there.
Of course. So this happened this last weekend. I was at one of the local big box stores, and there was a fair amount of money that was on the ground, sort of, wadded, folded over and everything. And it was turned in, not by me, but by somebody else, and then got started the conversation around how much would I have to pick up for me to not, turn it in. And as I said, sometimes my morals and ethics can be questioned. So I might not be the best person to ask. But
so I feel like awkward because you put me on this like ethical pedestal, but like I feel it. I mean, definitely not like $1, $5. Like that's just like finders keepers, like think so much. I think my issue would be like, what if I turn it in? Are they gonna find the person? I mean, I guess if it's like a big enough amount of money, maybe whoever dropped it is gonna think there's like a world where someone nice turned it into the lost and found. But like, I don't want to be judgy here, but I feel like if I turn and I look at customer service and I don't think they're gonna continue the good deed, I don't know. I might just keep that.
It's a fascinating topic. I've been asking friends and family about that, and the numbers range from like, oh, anything over $20 I would turn in to, yeah, tough luck.
Would they though? Would they? That's not being honest here. I'm being transparent.
$500? That's the car payment.
I mean, true. I mean, who carries $500 cash these days, though?
Well, yeah, you'd be surprised, Erin. You'd be surprised.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess in the event, I think I would be super stunned if I just saw like a wad of cash. Might also depend how the cash is rolled. If it's rolled the way someone who earned it in a legal manner may have it, right? And it's like has dollar amounts written on the side of it, I may just decide it's like for the better good. But maybe do something good with the money. Does that make me more ethical? If it's like, well, maybe I'll keep it, but then I'll like, go donate some money to an organization.
So we don't have enough time, but we're going to have to explore how you know so much about illegal means of money and people who have, little baggies and other rolled up, dollar bills and 20s. So this is a whole nother conversation.
I've got street smarts.
Well, you are from the 860, right?
Well, I am from the 860. What's your answer though?
I would say anything over 50 to 100, I would turn in. If I find $20 on the ground at Lowe's, sorry.
That's yours. Maybe Jeff Myers is walking up and down the hall at big box stores, just like dropping money to make someone's day.
But you talk about larger wads of money. You remember at like a Lowe's or Home Depot, you have a lot of people who are helping a friend, and they're buying, shingles and stuff of that sort. So them having $500 or $1,000 in cash wouldn't be that unusual.
Fair. I would be more likely to turn it in if it was an envelope of cash, because
Right.
that feels like it had a purpose.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, I don't know. I could find a million ways to justify it and make myself feel better, I think. Do you think?
Well, of course. And where are you at life? You know, if
True.
you know, I'm at the ice cream shop with your husband and we find $20, we're each having an ice cream for lunch.
Fair. This is very true. If you watch the person in front of you drop the $20, we're still buying an ice cream. We're asking him if he wants. Well, no, we'll give it back, but we'll say maybe you owe us an ice cream for giving it.
Exactly.
Fair. Well, okay, let's go ahead and bring in Marlon Fisher, who is the co-founder and development director of Dad Guild, which is a really cool organization here in Vermont. Marlon, I'm very curious if you would like to weigh in on finding money on the ground and what you would do.
I'm with Joe. If it's a $5, $10, I mean, I've done it before. I just pocket it. You know, I'm looking around, and I know it's happened to me. I know I've dropped $5, $10 out of my pocket, and some people have found it. So bigger bills, you know, we'll search. Maybe go to the store because someone will notice that and probably come back to the store and see if someone turned it in. So
yeah, or maybe I would pick it up and keep it in my hand and like walk around looking for if I see someone who looks like they're looking for something.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
I would love to see that.
Well, let's go try it out. We should just go to Home Depot. Let's go do a test, Joe. Let's go to Home Depot and drop money and watch what people do.
Sounds good to me. That could be a nice podcast outing.
Yeah,
I love it. All right, Marlon, tell me about the Dad Guild. I know I've actually been to a couple of events before, and I've heard a lot about it. A few of my friends participate pretty regularly. But explain for folks who don't know what the Dad Guild is. What's it all about?
Yeah, so Dad Guild is we're a nonprofit we founded about 6 years ago, and we saw this need for connection for dads and community members and kids. And so Dad Guild, we're Vermont's largest fatherhood-focused organization, and we offer a ton of programming in different avenues. So, and I like to answer the question, why Dad Guild? So why we exist is because men have half as many friends as they had 30 years ago. 2/3 of dads there's an increase in mental health challenges in the first 5 years of parenting, and then men are half as likely to seek mental health support when they have challenges. So that's why we exist, and we've created so many programs to address some of these issues. So we have our peer support network, which is mostly like dad events only. So we create opportunities for connection, and these things look like Fires with Fathers, our new dad cohort, or Welcome to Fatherhood group. We offer through our peer support network, and there's tons of programs there. We have dads and kids events again, which is programming that dads go to, and there's opportunities for connection and with other caregivers, and kids get to be a part of that, which is pretty amazing for kids to see their dads connect with others. We have caregiver education. So we offer education classes, workshops on all different topics, from dysregulation to biting to divorce and separation. So just a wide variety of what families are seeing today. And then we have whole family events. And those events look like our music play groups, our playground play groups sometimes. We offer this our winter toast and jam series, which is really cool, which we have bread, the toast and jams. People can toast and make some and put jam while there's music in the background. And we have an event at Zero Gravity, Coffee and Waffles. So that's kind of a gist of what Dad Guild does and some of the things that we do, and it's pretty exciting. So fun stuff.
Oh, it was Joe's turn to ask a question, Ben. My producer's messing us up. That's all right. I've got you anyway, though.
Okay.
The event that I went to, I think, was one of the toast and jams, because I remember having breakfast food and tons of music, and there was mini golf. And my son Jack, who is 3, he was like, having a great time. Had to watch that he wasn't hitting people with the golf club. But so I'm married. My husband could use something like this at times, because I am definitely the social one of our family. And so I feel like the need, like you said, like, it's great to have something where men can go and hang out with people that are in the same life phase, right? And I feel like for my husband, that was what was the hardest when we had kids, is a lot of his friends didn't yet. And so our life was looking very different from what theirs was. And it was hard to make connections with people that are in your same life phase. And so you guys are kind of making it easy for men to find other men in their similar situation. And that can be married, but that can be if they're going through a divorce. And that's right. Girls chit chat, girls call each other, right? And guys don't, right? My brother's recently divorced. And the whole time I used to call him, like, who do you talk to? Like, who do you have to talk about this? Mm-hmm. And so that need, right? So what has been the reception from people, from dads, maybe when they come for the first time?
Yeah, so we get that, and we know this through our annual survey, which we have our 2025 annual survey is being conducted right now. But through our 2024 survey, we saw that 80%, almost 80% of dads felt, or 72% of dads felt more confident in their parenting ability. They were able to sort of, when they felt connection. 80% of dads said that there's no other parenting organization that they were connected to. So when we see numbers like that, we know that what we're doing is working, and it's benefiting not only dads and men, we also say mask identifying caregivers, because we think about uncles and grandpas and stepdads. So there's like this whole realm of anybody who identifies as a father. So when we see those numbers like that, results like that, we know that what we're doing is working and helping, not only benefiting that individual, but the family and the community as a whole. So when people feel connected to some things, it really manifests in a way that people are feel more healthy and through connection.
So Marlon, I know you do a lot of events all over the area. Can you talk a little bit about the costs associated with some of them? I know there's some are free and some do cost. And then what is kind of your general area? Is it more of a Burlington based, or where are you basically around?
Yeah, so most of our events take place in Chittenden County, but right now, and as of April 1st, we expanded into our Northern Windsor and Orange counties through an expansion grant that we got through Building Bright Futures, which is pretty cool. We're offering a program down near. We have dad fellows who are running program down near. So we went down and did a community assessment, saw what the local resources were, so that dads are down there, we'll be able to provide them with resources in terms of mental health, physical health, doctors in the area, anything that's child related, so people can be pointed in the right direction. The cost for our programming, so to the user, everything is free. There's no cost to any user, and the way we pay for that is through the grants and the donations that we receive, so that we can provide these opportunities for people to connect. And the goal of that is for there to be no barriers. We don't want anybody to have any barriers to attend. So we have a little money set aside for people who may have transportation issues, so we can give them Uber gift cards, or if they can't afford a babysitter, we might have a little bit of funds to help support that, so they can attend a Dad Guild event that is a dad only event, part of our peer support program. So cost wise, that's where we are at, and as development director, my job is to continue to build our development program so that we can continue to provide programs for people with no barriers.
And so I know your Facebook is an amazing resource, your website as well, to find out when there are events, but a lot of them are kind of like regularly scheduled, let's call it, right? Like second Sunday, first Tuesday. And so I know we have some info on some of them. Our producer is going to pull up, but as he does, if you could just kind of explain to us, I believe some of the events we've pulled info on are dad only, like you said, or dad with kids, but then even also like including the family as well, because I'm sure it's nice, right? A dad goes to this dad hang and meets these new friends and comes home talking about them. Like the wife's going to be like, I want to meet these people. Like they seem fun and cool. So, all right, first up, the Dad Jam. What's this one all about?
So our Dad Jam is the third Friday of every month. It's pretty cool. Dads will bring their instruments to our space, which is located in Pine Street in the soda plant, and they just jam out. I mean, drums, guitars. It's a good time. Some people have a lot of experience playing music, and others don't, and so it's a good time to learn. And I'm hoping that someday we'll be able to play a concert for our kids at some point. But that's a really fun opportunity. We've seen a lot of good participation and engagement with that. And what happens is some dads, again, with our events, people don't have to sign up if they sign up for some events, but if they show up to an event, it might foster them to come to a different more events, and through that connection they might meet, like here in this photo, the stepbrothers, and say, let's go now to the playground play group without our instruments and hang out. So it's really fun and cool. So Dad Jam is something that started just a few months ago. A lot of fun.
All right, well, now we got the playground play groups.
So the playground play groups, if you keep a watch for on our calendar, these are popping up throughout Chittenden County, and then like I said, through the expansion into Windsor, South Northern Windsor and Orange counties. But these are just times that we show up to any playground, kind of hang out, let our kids do a thing, have conversations. We might provide coffee or tea or coffee at times, or donuts. But it's just a really fun time to watch our kids interact with each other, and just also have be outside and connect. So, and those happen all the time. Library play group. This is pretty cool. This happens at Fletcher Free. We're going to be doing it in other libraries as well. This usually takes place on Sundays that we partner with the libraries, and again, coming in, hanging out with our kids. I think what's really important for young children is when fathers who are engaged or not fathers, but just parents in general, if they're engaged in like the literacy portion of a child development. So that's really fun. It's a fun time, and again, it's all about community and exposing kids to all these books that are free and fun to have. Friday night hangs. This is my favorite. I like this photo that you put up here because this was from I think one of our first, not our first Friday night hang, but if you look at this photo, there's a bunch of wood blocks down there, and we had found these little tiny remote control Matchbox size cars. And you can see all the dads up top who are racing these cars around this track, and it was so much fun. We put obstacles on there, and dads had a lot of time. But normally what happens at Friday night hangs is we may set up like old school video games, Nintendo, or some emulator of some sort. We might throw on a sports game. So, in the last year when we first started this, we were watching the NCAA Women's Championship games, which was really cool, draw a lot of attention. And again, this is like we'll do a little bit of food, a little bit of BYOB, but it's a good time, like just hanging out. We got a custom cornhole set coming soon. We just today added a dartboard into our space, so that's going to be fun. So we might have dartboard tournaments, but it's a good time. It's usually the first Friday of every month, and a lot of fun from that. Can
Joe still go?
Joe, right? Yes.
Even if your kids aren't little anymore?
Well, that's the thing. Even if your kids aren't little more, fatherhood and parenthood is forever. You're always going to be a parent no matter what. So you could have you could be an empty nester. You could be have newborns. Anything that part of our peer support network program, and feel free to come and join. Anyway, it's open to anybody.
I thought you were going to have to send Joe home to his wife to say they had to have another baby.
Well, yeah, right.
He pumped the brakes there.
Our Sunday fam jams. This is our family, like a family event. This is so much fun because it's facilitated. We got this is the Vermont Community Foundation's. We got a grant to sponsor this, and we do this on a weekly basis on Sunday morning. So it's a fam jam that goes into a casual play group in our space. Families who decide to stay get like a little discount on some food here at Haymaker Bun Company, which is pretty cool. This is facilitated by this one of our dad fellows, Alex Barron, who is a dad, also an early childhood educator, and before he became an early childhood educator, this is cool. He played in a band that would tour the country. So wow. This is and my highlight is he was my kid's preschool teacher, my youngest son's preschool teacher, and Alex also played on Tiny Desk for NPR, which is pretty amazing. So that's pretty cool. Families get to experience that. That's weekly. You can again look at our calendar. You'll see what pops up on our website. Yeah.
So how many? I know your organization has grown over the years. So how many families are you participate? Maybe not every week, but how many families are you touching now?
Yeah, so we have over 1,500 dads throughout the state that are in our network, and then I should have pulled out specific numbers for you, Joe, but we do offer. We have this, when we look at the hours of programming and people who attend. So some of our events you have to RSVP for. So we can, you know, to pull those numbers up. And then some programs are just you show up. So, you know, if one person shows up to an event, that's more than, you know, that's great, because now we know we're making an impact on that person's lives. Our Toast and Jam series, I mean, we've had, you know, we filled that space to capacity on 2 different occasions. So that it just depends on the event, and usually, you know, if one person shows up, we're good. 5 people, it depends on the event. So, but
how long has Dad Guild been around? And I know, so your kids are 7 and 8. So how old were they, I guess, maybe when this started? And then how has it been for you and the other, you know, co-founder and key players to see, you know, in the beginning being like, hey, let's like make this a thing, and then see the way that it's grown?
Yes. So Dad Guild's been around officially as a nonprofit since March of 2019. But prior to that, you know, I call it the Orange Book. We have the Orange Book as like an archive where, you know, Keegan, our founder, executive director, had notes of what our logo was going to look like, what our name would have been. And I remember him sending out a bunch of emails in September of 2018 to a bunch of dads in the community saying, let's meet at this coffee shop, and then having several meetings from there, and like coming up with the name, the logo, coming up with what programming might look like. And then so that's how we started. And so 2019, my oldest son was almost turning 3. Yeah, I think so. We've been around, and so in the beginning, yes, that was it. We started off with like, we're going to meet at the farmers market and hang out and push our strollers, or we're going to meet at this playground. And I remember in March of 2020 when we had our like board retreat, which was 3 of us, we did our 5-year plan, and to know that last year we surpassed a lot of the goals and visions that we had for 5 years in terms of what Dad Guild would look like, the types of program we would offer, the number of dads that would be involved, another number of organizations that we might partner up with. So we really turn this into a movement, because again, like I mentioned at the top, is we see there's a need for this in terms of addressing mental health and gender equality and all these things that our communities are suffering from in a way.
Well, but you did that in March. Sorry, Joe. March of 2020. So you guys met and had this big plan of like all the cool hangouts you were going to do, but then the world shut down.
And the world shut down, and we grew during that time. Would you believe that we grew during that time? So the way we grew is we offered weekly Zoom calls and weekly we did Jackbox game nights so people can log onto their computers. We used an app called Marco Polo that dads can communicate with through Marco Polo. There was a lot of growth during that time because, again, if you remember, people were looking for connection. And I remember there was a lot of dads who I met during that time. And then, you know, once things were able to open up and seeing people like, oh, wow, you're actually taller than I thought. Or, you know, it was great to meet people in person and have our kids interact. I mean, there were times when dads would show up to the front doors away from kids and like wave and sing carols and to our families. Or I remember one time I was telling a bunch of dads about these exfoliating rags, and I ordered a bunch, and I just drove to all their houses and dropped them off in their mailboxes, you know. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and to see the growth during that 2-year period was pretty amazing. So
it's wonderful, you know. I think for so long, I remember when my kids were younger, there was built-in mom groups that my wife would go to when they're little, and you know, there's the very popular movie with Kevin Hart where he's a stay-at-home dad and the challenges of being a stay-at-home dad and going into a mom's group. So it's wonderful to see, you know, a group like yours, Marlon, being around and helping the community as much as they are. So if people want to learn more or come to one of your events, I know social media is big for you, but Facebook, Instagram, can you maybe give us your handles?
Yep. So Facebook, we're Dad Guild on Facebook, and then on Instagram, we're Dad Guild as well. And a lot of our events are on our website, which is dadguild.org. If people want to, they can come visit. We're here in the office sporadically, not sporadically. We're here in our office here in Pine Street in the soda plant. They can come visit, have a chat, and check out the space, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, so those are the ways to connect. And, you know, if you on our website, you can look at our staff and reach out if there's something specifically you want to ask from our program officer or executive director or me. You can just reach out via email, and those usually our names. So Marlon at Dad Guild, Patrick at Dad Guild, and Keegan at Dad Guild. So those are, those are the ways to reach out.
Those are the major players. What's maybe something about the Dad Guild most people don't know that you wish they did, or like a misconception or something like that?
A misconception that those things that people don't know. So if you're a dad, you can attend, no matter how old your kid is, you can attend any of our peer support network or peer support programming. We don't shut out moms. That's a misconception. So moms are included as well, right, in some of the program that we do. And I think that's it. I mean, there's some things, but those are some of the biggest things. Moms think it's for dads only, so it's not all dads only. So that, again, we're all about community building and building and raising the family up. So again, that's why we offer those dad and kid events and the all family events.
Well, like you said, right? Like the word is dad because that's easy. That's an easy descriptor, but it can be an uncle. It can be a caregiver. It can be. It doesn't have to literally be dad. Like
right.
A father-ish figure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool, Joe. Any other questions? Any burning questions from you?
No. I think you nailed you hit the nail on the head that, we just had Mother's Day recently, and like the Dad's Guild, you don't have to be a man to be a dad. Dads come in a lot of different shapes and sizes, and by blood and not by blood. So it's important that there's a lot of moms out there who are better dads than a lot of men or dads, and there's a lot of dads out there who are better moms than moms out there. So it's great to hear that, you're open and supportive of everyone who's just helping, because it's hard to raise kids nowadays.
It is. Yeah, and there's one more thing I forgot to mention is our caregiver education. So we offer caregiver education workshops from, again, I said navigating relationships to understanding dysregulation, even biting. And one thing I also forgot to mention is we have a podcast as well. Dad Guild has a podcast. It's called Dad Pod, a Dad Guild podcast, and you can find us on all streaming platforms as well. And that's a lot of that is sort of talking about. I think we have an episode about climate and the impact and how we talk to our children about that. So yeah, there's a lot. We offer that as well.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Marlon, for taking a little time out of your day to share with us all of the exciting things that are going on with the Dad Guild. And my challenge to all of you dad jammers is that you guys, the goal should be to have like a dad jam and a dad toast and jam with you guys as the band at one of those one time.
Yes, reach out. If a band wants to come and play, we'll vet them out.
No, I want your band. I want the dad
our
jam.
band. Our band. Oh,
yeah, yes. I want the dad jam band. That should be the goal.
That should be our goal. Maybe in March of 2026. So we can get that.
All right, at least you said 2026.
Well, thank you.
All right, yeah, thank you so much, Marlon.
Thanks, Marlon.
Joe, can you imagine if there was something like that around when you had the
it would
kids?
Definitely be helpful. When my kids, my oldest didn't have the best sleeping. He had a lot of challenges with sleeping, so we didn't have 24-hour coffee shops. We didn't have all that stuff around. So I can remember driving with him just to get him to fall asleep for 20 minutes, a half hour, to no place, just driving around and trying to find other people to try to keep your sanity. So life would probably be a little different if it was around. It's great that we have that.
I think it's really very awesome. How was Mother's Day at your house, by the way? Did your wife get her day to herself?
Partially, yes. Her family came over, and we had a little cookout, and it was nice, and it was casual. Her goal is, after working so long all week, her goal is not to leave the house on Sundays. That's her thing. So she accomplished the goal of not leaving the house on Sunday. So she was happy about that, which was great. The weather was perfect. So how about you? I know sometimes little ones don't understand that it's Mother's Day or Father's Day when it comes around.
Yeah, that's all right, though. I mean, school made sure that they had some, little mom projects to give me. We went to Echo that morning to, go check out the Children's Museum and what's new there, and then came home, and my father-in-law, you'll actually like this story. My father-in-law dropped off like a nice plant right on our front porch. He kind of does that every year. It was like, great surprise, nice, happy Mother's Day. So they come over for dinner that night, and he's like, he takes our dog a lot on the weekends because he's obsessed with him. And he shared that Bogey had peed on the plant he bought me. And that's why he bought the plant. Like, he's like, we were walking around the plant place and Bogey just decided that was a great place to pee. And the guy was looking at me. He's like, so then that was the one I had to buy. Like,
well, you talk about dogs. I absolutely love dogs, and I we lost our dog a little over a year ago, and my new neighborhood, there's a lot of dogs in the neighborhood, so I'm out and you interact with them, and there's this dog who lives across the way, a golden doodle named Rosie. I don't know the owner's name because that's not important. But Rosie, and she's the most adorable dog, and I want to play and have fun with her. So I go outside, and she growls at me, and I watch her interacting with everyone else, and she doesn't do that with anyone else. So finally, I think the owners knew that. So they told me that the people who moved out of my house had a similar dog, and Rosie and that dog would play and everything like that. So she's angry that her best friend moved out and is taking it out on me. So I can't argue with it. So I see Rosie and I just say hello and I tell her someday maybe we'll get along.
Well, I tell you what, I have a mini Labradoodle, which is very similar to a golden doodle. So
yeah,
if you want, you can borrow Bogey sometime, and then maybe Rosie will approach you.
I tried that with women back in college, and it didn't work as well.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. All right. Anything else for this week before we wrap it up?
No, just one challenge for you as you're going around. As the weather gets nicer and I'm out and about a little bit more, I have a lot of things people make fun of me about. And one of them is, names and vanity plates. So I've been seeing a lot of interesting vanity plates. So, just keep it in the back of your mind when you're out driving around. I'm not as good, I'm sure you are with your journalism background. It takes me a while, some of the vanity plates. I'm like, what's that mean? And I find myself taking pictures and bringing it home and being like, what ones does this mean? So some are really cool and I get right away, and some I don't. But, I think it's a topic that we can talk about later about interesting and unique vanity plates.
That's a good one. And a quick nod to Marlon, as we learned, he actually has one that's Big Fish.
Yeah, which is great. And I said, before we started that I'm not a big fan of vanity plates, but Big Fish being Marlon and his last name Fisher, I mean that's a home run.
I like it. All right, sounds good. I'm gonna keep my eye peeled. I'm gonna start taking photos of them for you. I did see One Love the other day, that one I got, but I know what you mean. Sometimes you have to like sound it out and try to figure out what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Or what I prefer, the ones that are a little dirty or a little off color that, you try to get through the DMV. Those are the ones I really enjoy.
Cool. Okay, then this is a little off color and then we're going to let it go. But when the DMV got through the G's, and then there was a whole bunch of them that were GFY, which can mean go yourself. Right? I can say that on a podcast. I didn't say the middle word. That like within, you're going to learn something about my family now. Within the Cofield family growing up, that was kind of like just saying like, be quiet. Yeah. And so it got abbreviated, and that's like a running joke in our family text. So when I'd start driving around, I just saw all these license plates that are like GFY 243 GFY. I was like, oh my God, do these people even know? They're just like yelling at us.
Yeah, they probably don't. And that's one of the, if I was smarter and I was willing to pay that $60 for a vanity plate, maybe I would have something cute like that. But, as a New York Italian, I am too aggressive in the car, so it's too easy for people to remember it.
Fair. All right. Well, people listening, though, if you've seen any good ones, drop them in the comments or let us know what they are, and maybe we'll be able to talk about them in future weeks on the podcast.
Sounds great.
All right, everybody. Thanks again. Thank you to Marlon Fisher for joining us from the Dad Guild. Check out their events on their Facebook page and on their website. And we hope to, we hope you all tune in and listen to what we're up to again next week. Have a good week.